The rescuer got a phone call about some kittens found without their mother. They were all alone in an empty area. The rescuer quickly packed his rescue bag and hurried to the spot. Every minute mattered for these tiny animals who couldn't take care of themselves. When he got to the place, the rescuer moved quietly, looking around carefully. He didn't see anything at first. Then he heard a soft sound. Following it, he found the kittens hiding between two buildings. They were huddled close together, trying to stay warm and safe. The kittens looked scared when they saw the big human coming near them. Their fur was dirty and messy. They were very skinny, much thinner than healthy kittens should be. The rescuer felt sad seeing them like this, but he was happy they were still alive and moving around. He bent down slowly and reached his hand toward the kittens. Just as he expected, they ran away deeper into their hiding spot. The rescuer didn't chase them or try to grab them. Instead, he sat down quietly nearby and waited. He knew from years of helping animals that patience was very important when dealing with scared creatures. After waiting a while, the rescuer again slowly moved his hand toward the nearest kitten. This time the kitten watched him but didn't run away. The rescuer moved very gently and touched the kitten's head with just one finger. The kitten jumped a little but let the rescuer touch it. This was a good sign. The rescuer kept doing these careful, gentle touches. He spoke in a soft, quiet voice to help the kittens feel safe around him. Little by little, they became less afraid. One by one, the kittens let him pet them. Their little bodies were still tight with worry but not shaking with fear anymore. The smallest kitten even leaned toward his hand, hungry not just for food but also for kindness. While getting the kittens to trust him, the rescuer noticed how thin they were. He could see their ribs through their fur, and their eyes looked sunken in. These were clear signs they hadn't eaten well for many days. He took out a small container of wet kitten food from his rescue bag. This food was made just for young cats. When he opened it, all the kittens perked up and their noses twitched at the smell. The rescuer put a small bit of food on his finger and held it out to the kittens. After a moment of being unsure, their hunger won over their fear. They started to lick the food from his finger eagerly. Soon they were eating straight from the container, their tiny tongues working fast to eat it all. The rescuer smiled as he watched them eat. He knew this simple meal was already helping to save their lives. As the kittens ate, the rescuer looked at them more closely. They seemed to be about 5 or 6 weeks old. This meant they were old enough to eat solid food, but still too young to live on their own. Even though they weren't in good shape, the rescuer could tell they would grow into beautiful cats with the right care. When they finished eating, the kittens had more energy and seemed to trust the rescuer more. One even climbed onto his leg and looked up with bright eyes that weren't scared anymore. This was the perfect time for the rescuer to check if the kittens had any injuries or health problems. One by one, he gently picked up each kitten to look them over. He checked their eyes to see if they were clear, their ears for any tiny bugs, their gums for good color, and their bodies for any hurts or bugs living in their fur. Some had fleas, which is common for kittens living outside. The rescuer knew these first checks were just the beginning. The kittens would need to see a vet for tests, medicine for worms, and shots to prevent diseases. But right now, the most important thing was to get them to a safe place. The kittens now trusted the rescuer enough to let him handle them. He got ready to take them to the rescue center. He put soft blankets in a small carrier to keep the kittens warm and comfy during the trip. Then he carefully placed each kitten inside. Instead of trying to get away, the kittens settled down in the soft blankets. They were tired from everything that had happened and from the excitement of being found. The rescue center was quiet when they arrived, which was good because loud noises might scare the kittens. The workers welcomed the new arrivals with quick, skilled movements that showed they had done this many times before. They started right away with checking in the kittens, weighing them, guessing their age, writing down what condition they were in, and making a plan for their care. The kittens started to explore their new home with growing bravery. One found a toy mouse and began playing with it. Another discovered a scratching post and seemed to enjoy it. Even the smallest kitten, who wasn't feeling well, showed interest in a feather toy that moved around. These were all good signs. It meant that even though they had a hard start in life, the kittens still had the playful spirit that would help them connect with humans and someday find forever homes. Before leaving, the rescuer spent a few more minutes with the kittens. He had formed a special bond with them during their rescue. Although he knew they were in good hands, saying goodbye was never easy. He watched as they got used to their new space, already looking more relaxed and safe than they had been just hours earlier in their outdoor hiding place. As the rescuer drove home that evening, he thought about what had happened that day. He had saved young lives that would have faced hardship and maybe even death. While he couldn't help every animal that needed help, days like this reminded him why he kept doing this hard work. Each successful rescue made a difference, not just for the animals, but also for the people who would someday welcome these pets into their homes and hearts. The rescue center had a clear plan for handling cases like these abandoned kittens. Each new animal got a full health check, treatment for any immediate problems, and a plan for recovery that fit their specific needs. In the coming days, the kittens would get good food, medical care, and plenty of time to get used to being around people to prepare them for adoption. The staff would take pictures and videos of the kittens to help possible adopters understand their story and connect with them. These pictures would also show the importance of rescue work and the amazing change that can happen when abandoned animals get proper care and attention. For now, though, the most important step had already happened. These kittens were no longer abandoned, no longer struggling to stay alive on their own. They had been found, rescued, and given a chance for a better life. In animal rescue work, that first step often makes all the difference between a sad ending and a hopeful one. The change from abandoned animal to loved pet is the miracle that rescuers, vets, shelter workers, and foster families help create every day. It shows what can happen when people care enough to notice suffering and do something to help. This rescue was just one small story in the bigger picture of animal welfare, but for these kittens and the families who would someday adopt them, it was a story that changed everything. The system worked as it should. Someone noticed animals in need and made a call. A rescuer came and brought them to safety, and a rescue center provided the medical care and support they needed to recover and get ready for adoption. This network of caring people, working together to save animals in need, shows the power of kindness and dedication. What began as an urgent rescue on an ordinary day would spread outward, touching many lives and creating bonds that would last a lifetime. With proper care, these scared, hungry kittens would become healthy, playful companions. Their hard beginning would fade into a distant memory. They would bring joy to their adoptive families and serve as living reminders of what rescue work can accomplish. The day ended with little lives saved, kittens who now had a future instead of an uncertain fate. For the rescuer and the rescue center staff, this was the reward that made all their hard work worthwhile. While there would always be more animals needing help, more calls to answer, more scared creatures to gently coax into safety, each success gave them the motivation to continue this important work. This is why animal rescue matters, because each animal deserves a chance at a happy, healthy life, and because the bond between humans and animals makes life better for everyone involved. The rescue of these kittens shows how a small act of kindness can grow into something beautiful and lasting. It shows that even in a world full of problems, one person can make a real difference by taking action when they see suffering. It shows that kindness in action has the power to change lives, both animal and human lives. Most of all, it shows that when people work together to help the most helpless creatures, wonderful things can happen. For the rescuer, this day was just one of many spent saving animals in need. For the rescue center staff, these kittens were among many they would care for that month. But for the kittens themselves, this day marked the beginning of a whole new life. A life of safety, comfort, good food, medical care, and eventually, the love of adoptive families. Their story had a happy ending because someone cared enough to make that first call, because a rescuer came with skill and patience, and because a rescue center was ready to provide the ongoing care they needed. This is how animal rescue works at its best. A chain of kindness that stretches from the first person who notices an animal in need to the final adopters who provide forever homes. Each link in that chain is essential, and each person involved plays a vital role in the happy outcome. As the kittens slept soundly in their new, safe place, their rescue story showed what humans can do when they extend kindness to the most vulnerable creatures around them. The road ahead for these kittens would include good nutrition to help them gain weight and strength, medical treatment to fix their health issues, and careful socialization to help them feel comfortable with humans and other animals. It would take weeks of dedicated care before they were ready for adoption, but the rescue center staff knew from experience that their efforts would be rewarded. In time, these frightened, undernourished kittens would become healthy, playful young cats ready to join loving families. The rescue system depends on many people doing different jobs, from those who report animals in need, to the rescuers who bring them to safety, to the vets who provide medical care, to the shelter staff and volunteers who handle day-to-day needs, to the foster families who may provide temporary homes, and finally to the adopters who open their hearts and homes permanently. Each role matters, and the success of a rescue depends on all these pieces working together well. For these kittens, the first crucial step had been accomplished. They were now safe, fed, and getting the care they needed. Their journey from abandoned strays to beloved pets had begun, thanks to the quick action of the rescuer and the experienced care of the rescue center. Though they did not know it yet, their lives had been changed forever for the better on this single, important day. In the days to come, they would grow stronger, healthier, and more trusting. They would learn that not all humans were to be feared. Many were kind and gentle. They would discover the joy of play, the comfort of full bellies, and the security of safe shelter. And someday, they would know the special bond that forms between a rescued animal and the family who chooses to love it. This is the beauty of animal rescue, taking creatures from the darkest moments of their lives and guiding them toward the light of a better future. For the rescuer driving home that evening, the knowledge of this transformation was enough to make all the hard work, all the emotional ups and downs, all the challenges of rescue work completely worthwhile. Tomorrow there would be more animals to save, more challenges to face, but for today, he could rest knowing that his actions had made a real, lasting difference. And for the kittens, sleeping peacefully at the rescue center, tomorrow would bring the next step in their journey toward health, happiness, and homes of their own.